Okay, hello everyone. This is the first episode of my journaling for my project Happy Skills, and I'm going to try to do that on a weekly basis to give you an update on that project. I'm building a startup on my own using Agentic programming. The goal is to keep the entire company limited to a single person, me. If you're interested in doing the same, if you're interested in being a solopreneur, and if you want to learn from my mistakes and also probably give me feedback, help me building it by just guiding me with your comments in this video below. Please consider subscribing if you want to see what's coming up next. And that's it. I'm also learning how to do YouTube. I realized this is something that would be very useful for me as part of my personal growth. At the moment, my name is Nicholas Dow. I'm a Belgian-Australian solopreneur, and I've been an engineer, a software engineer for the past 20 years. I've worked in a few startups, and I've been running my consulting for over 10 years now. And I've helped a lot of entrepreneurs building their tech, but I've never shipped a business on my own. The part where I'm extremely comfortable is obviously the engineering part. I'm very good at. There's no problem with this. The part where I suck at is everything else. The marketing, the sales, the communications, the networking. I got networker. But this has to change. I have to change my mindset, and I have to learn how to be good at those, because if I don't get good at those, then this project will go nowhere else but just being published. And I'll talk about this in a second, so we'll get there. But really, this journaling here is all about sharing a few numbers. I'll always be presenting the numbers of my business at the beginning of each episode. Then I'll always present the good, the bad, the ugly, and the lesson learned. And I think the lesson learned is, I hope it's something that could be useful for you guys if you're watching this. And at the end of the video, I'll explain what I'm doing to fight the bad and the ugly and to get my numbers up. And if I didn't do what I said I was going to do, I'll owe you an explanation, because I'll have to be accountable in this channel to make it look interesting. I'm also hoping that as I'm sharing what I'm doing, I receive feedback in those comments. I'm sure, hopefully, people that are watching this video have done the same mistake as that I will do, and probably I can learn how to not make those mistakes. In any case, the goal here is for me to learn how to be a better communicator, a better YouTuber, do more interesting content, and be more accountable, and stop sucking at sales, marketing, networking, and business in general. So without further ado, where are we at with my project, and what the hell am I working on? I'm working on a project called Happy Skills, and Happy Skills is a registry for AI skills. So the problem it solves at the moment, I find that skills are all over the shop. It's very hard to find them. Most of the time, people host them. I mean, most of the time, like almost all the time, people host them in GitHub repositories, which makes them very hard to find and aggregate. Also, it's very hard to make them private. So to make them private, you have to be a bit technical, because again, you probably have to just either keep them secret on your computer, but then it's a pain in the neck to share that with your friends, or you go on GitHub, but then GitHub is not for everybody. Also, the issue with skills is at the moment you have to leave your agentic system, whether it's Codex, Cursor, Anti-Gravity, Claude, to discover them and install them. So for me, what I want to do is to stay in Claude. I'm using Claude, and simply say something like, use Happy Skills to find a skill to help me do marketing. And at that point, that's it. It'll just go there, understand what my goal is, and then pick up the best skills for the job. And also, I want to stay there when I say, I'll publish the skill privately on my account, and it's done. Or invite my colleagues to that skill, and so on and so forth. So I just want to be able to have like all the work I'm doing about skills. I mean, all the work I'm doing at the moment in my tech consulting is already on Claude. And I don't want to just have to just leave Claude to manage my skills. So this is why I created Happy Skills, and it's already live. I've been working on this for about 6 months. I'm using Happy Skills every day. So for me, it's working very well. But here is the ugly part. The ugly part is I had 0 users. So if you go on happyskills.ai, the web page is up. And the bad and the ugly is that I have 0 users because I haven't done marketing properly yet. My content creation is not great. The thing I haven't done very well is that I started my YouTube channel 5 months ago, and I was trying to publish every week, and then I had a 3-month break. And again, like 3-month break just really killed my momentum, and I've just restarted now. And this video is obviously part of a strategy to trying to create content every week to gain an audience. Hopefully you find this interesting and you stay with me. And also fight my fear to appear on camera and share the things that I fuck up. The good thing is some of my friends really like the project and are using it on a daily basis, are professional marketers, and they've already given me feedback that my landing page really sucks. So that's already great. So if you go, let's just look at the page. At the moment, that's the landing page. And you can see I've positioned Happy Skilled as a package manager for AI skills, and nobody understands this. Like, I'm sure that if you were a technical person, an engineer, a software engineer, you might understand what a package manager is, but it happens that most of the people and most of my friends that are using this are not that technical. And so them, a package manager is completely, it's nonsense. It's just, doesn't make any sense to them. So, especially after I've pitched them what it does, like the pitch I gave you earlier. So it was very valuable. I definitely hurt to share that my landing page sucks, because I thought it was cool, because that's how I use Happy Skills. I use it as a package manager. But I guess that was a great example of my plan for battle did not survive the first contact with the enemy. So I have to fix this. So I'm collecting feedback at the moment to rewrite the intro or the landing page. And also after a discussion with them, I realized that I should probably get out of my shell. I don't really like to interact with people. So I'm trying to automate everything. Like, that's what engineers do. And I'm one of them. We want to automate everything. We want to just have a robot do everything for you, so we don't have to actually talk to other people. But unfortunately, I don't think this business is going to work if I just don't get out, meet people, have face-to-face with them, and also like talk to them the way I do it right now. So I'm planning to try to get in touch with YouTubers that are already influential in the space, trying to pitch them the idea, see what they think, and maybe try to get them on board. So that'll be probably some cold emails. So that's the things. So what I'm going to do, update the landing page, get in touch with influencers, and do more YouTube videos where I promote Happy Skills. These are the 3 things that I commit to do. So in episode 2, I'll report on those 3 activities, and we'll see if I've managed to get at least 1 freaking organic users. Mom, if you're watching, it's not you. So anyway, I won't report family and friends, and I won't count them as organic users, but like somebody that literally came and created an account through whatever content creation I promoted. So this is going to be my accountable part for episode number 2. And I want to accomplish this in less than 2 weeks. I'm going to plan my content ahead, trying to create 1 month of content ahead. So that way I never have this freaking 1 month break. And this is what I'm committing to do, to trying to get better content creation, to get more users and build my reputation. Now, lesson learned. What have I learned while doing this project that you may be benefiting so far? So obviously, I'm not going to teach you anything about sales and marketing because I suck at it. And the only thing that I've learned here is that I suck at it, and this is not for you. However, what I've learned in the last 6 months is I've become extremely good agentic programming and agentic workflows. I mean, this is not so much this project because, like I said, I also run a consulting. I run a consulting that has many clients. So those clients have many projects. I also help my wife with her website. She has an e-learning business. And she also has a painting business. I'm also helping her with that. So you can see that I have all those projects. And on top of this, I got this Happy Skills project. And all those projects, they compete for time. And what is completely freaking amazing is that now it is 100% possible to manage all this thanks to agentic programming and agentic workflow. So what I want you to take from this is that if you're not using agentic programming right now or agentic workflow, you really have to start. The productivity gains is insane. And this is another good reason to subscribe to this channel, because beside those episodes where I'm going to report what I'm going to do to increase my users and grow my business online, I'm also going to teach how to use agentic workflows and agentic programming to be extremely productive. So please consider subscribing to that channel. First lesson learned is you can now, as a single person, create an entire business online. Now, you didn't need AI to do that before. There's plenty of other stories of solopreneurs way before the AI era that managed to be very successful running their company just on their own. The difference now is, like I said, for me, this is not just a project, it's one project amongst many. And I think that typically the thing that prevented me to do this is I didn't have enough time to just really hope to deliver something of that quality with the limited amount of time I had in my week. And now you can. So that's lesson number one. Agentic programming, agentic workflow can really allow you to ship full projects. And like Happy Skills was not a trivial project to build. It's not hyper enterprise, but it's not like a simple, there's a decent backend behind it. There are 65,000 AI skills on it. There's a crawler behind it. There is a DevOps behind it. There is security. There's automation. There is a documentation that was quite large. There is a blog posts. There is an integration to interact with Claude and Codex. So this works by a CLI that is piloted by Skill. So you can see there's a lot of moving parts. And there's obviously there's UI and UX, and there's automated testing and end-to-end test. All this was built by me, while at the same time working on all the other things I had to do for my existing business, my wife. So this is just insane that it's not possible to do this. It's just like blows my mind. So lesson number one, you can do this. For that, you have to learn how to use agentic programming and agentic workflows. Number two, still related to agentic programming and agentic workflows. The biggest unlock is, so you have AI, that's the tool, but to really allow you to leverage those tools, you have to completely change your mindset. And I call this the executive mindset. The executive mindset, when you look at very busy CEOs or CTOs, they're not just working on a single task. They're managing multiple tasks in parallel. And for me, as an engineer, that was very hard. So maybe for you, it's going to be easier, but for me, that was extremely hard to do that. Because in the past 20 years, I was incentivized to be extremely focused. So working on maybe one task at a time, not get distracted, hating meetings. I still hate meetings, fuck meetings, and just stay focused on a single task. And at that point, I'll get rewarded to be as quick. If I can be very quick and very focused on a task, a very complicated task, this is how I get rewarded. And that means just not do context switch. Context switching is when you're doing something else in parallel and you have to switch context. You're moving from one problem to another problem completely different. And so switching between one task and another is called cognitive load. So cognitive load is when you really have to increase the load on your cognitive ability to load more and more context in your brain to be able to work on specific tasks. And the problem is humans are not very good at this, unless you're extremely intelligent, but I'm not that intelligent. So for me, I'd been incentivized to do only one thing at a time. So when the problem with AI is that when you ask AI to do something, especially now with those super intelligent models, they can take up to 20 minutes to finish something. And if you are in the previous mindset, which is to wait, working on a single task, and even if waiting 20 minutes replace the work that you would have done in a day, it's still 20 minutes of idle time. And this idle time chills your momentum and chills your productivity. Because what do you do for 20 minutes? You get bored, and typically what you do, you go on YouTube, you go on Instagram, or you do something else, and then when the task comes back, you kind of have lost the plot. And again, you have to reload the context, and that's it. So if you keep working like this with AI, then you're not going to be productive. And yes, you're going to be productive in the sense that 20 minutes is now the equivalent of a day of work But what you need to learn to do is, as a task is running, you have to jump directly on another task. And I'm going to create a dedicated video on how to do parallel work using AI. So please consider subscribing to the channel, because this is like a very long topic. The real power of AI is not so much to use AI, but to learn how to multitask and do as many tasks in parallel as possible. And what you'll start with 2, and then when you get comfortable with 2, you do 3, and then you get comfortable with 3, you do 4, and so on and so forth. At this stage, I probably do between 5 and 10 tasks in parallel a day, and it really depends on how complicated the task is. For example, a task like working on a video, I mean, not this one, because here I'm just improvising and I'm just talking gibberish to you guys. So here I don't have to be prepared. But if I want to create like a tutorial where I'd have to be more structured, because there's a lot of me being involved in this, I'm very slow on that, because I'm not very good at this yet. So because I'm very slow, I can't have like 10 in parallel. So I'll probably have 2 or 3 in parallel, and this big task of working on my YouTube video will actually consume a lot of my cognitive ability. But hopefully, as I'm getting better at YouTube, then I can start to be more productive. But working in parallel is critical. Nobody talks about this enough. And I think people are more focused on the tool. I say, oh, shouldn't we use Gemini, or should we just use Claude or Codex, or no. This is actually not the big story. The big story is, how do we reorganize work in enterprise so people can start to multitask like bees? It's way easier for solopreneurs, because for solopreneurs like me, we're doing obviously everything. We're doing marketing, we're doing sales, we're doing like DevOps, we're doing design, we're doing security, we're doing accounting. And so obviously for us, because we're so stretched on all those different aspects of the business, it's very easy to find a task. It's very easy to find something to do. But if you're an employee in a big corp and you're inside a silo, let's just say you're just you're let's just say a database engineer. You have a big list of tasks to do, I'm sure, but there's just so much you can do in parallel. You probably because maybe like maybe the tasks you have to do are stuck. They're stuck, the sequential. Maybe you can't do the second one before the first one is done. So here, I guess that there's probably a big challenge in enterprise to reorganize the work, so the poor database engineer maybe start to do something more than databases, so they can start to do more things in parallel, or simply reorganize the work of databases so all the work can be done in parallel. As that's the real unlock of agentic workflows and agentic programming, is parallel executions. So literally, we're becoming more like GPUs. It's a very funny like parallel that the world is literally moving to GPUs. We used to work like CPUs, one task at a time, but very fast tasks. But now there are plenty of tasks that are idle for 20 minutes, and we need to learn how to do them in parallel. That's the second lesson learned. What else? Third lesson learned: don't judge people on their look. Just look at what they're doing and what they're producing, and that's the only thing that matters. Now, this is kind of silly, and a lot of people know this, but for me, I got caught into this. Because 2 years ago, so my agentic programming journey started 2 years ago, roughly when Claude Code got released. And at the beginning, I was using it more like as a chat. So I would have, for example, a great example would be a database question. I'll put that in ChatGPT and I'll ask, how can I make it better? All right, and I'll be copy pasting and so on and so forth. So, which I think a lot of people do. But obviously now we're not doing this anymore, all right? Like we're doing agentic programming, agentic workflows, no more of this nonsense. But at the time, that was what I was doing, and I felt that there was something missing, and that's where the concept of agents started to being popularized. And so I went on YouTube, and all the people talking about that on YouTube were pretty much very young engineers, the type of people that I would consider like as juniors, that they wouldn't have too much experience, and I would just judge them. I would judge them thinking like, hey, they know what they're talking about, they're too young, and I felt like in a bit, I guess I was scared that a younger person could probably displace me, because I've been in the game for 20 years, and I was thinking, well, I know better. I know better. And this AI thing not going to replace me because it's too dumb. It's making mistakes and all this stuff. God, I was wrong. The thing is, those amazing people on YouTube with their funny hipster mustache and their funny hairs and their Hawaiian shirts and so on and so forth with their neon light in the background, those engineers, I think, were and are still amazing because they're really pushing the boundary of what's possible with AI. And yes, their approach to engineering might be sometimes be a bit naive, but their approach to using AI to solve problems is not, because they're really thinking out of the box. At the moment, you have to understand that there's no best practices for AI because this thing is so new that we have to first deploy that in production, break things, and realize, shit, like, oh, that doesn't work, but what have we learned from those mistakes? And this is going to take time. And it takes explorers and adventurers to do that. And those young people, they're the one that are not afraid to do that and twist the AI tools in every possible ways to get the best out of it. And I've learned so much. Like a good example is like for UI design. For me, what I do, that I have a client, they push the ID, I come up with a mockup, I present the mockup, they review the mockup, they say, I don't like this, I like that, I don't like this, I like that. And then we iterate through that, all right? But what they would do instead, those younger adventurers, is that they would literally take the AI and ask the AI to generate 10, 20 versions, like completely embracing the stochastic nature of AI to generate a lot of mockups. At that point, I don't even think. I just use, and then at that point, I cherry pick. I like this, I don't like that, and that's so fast. It is so cheap and so fast to generate content now that might as well generate all the variation possible. At that point, we just cherry pick what works, what doesn't. You see, that type of mindset is what I learned from them, and I feel a bit of shame that I judge them by their look and their inexperience, but now I really respect them. On top of this, they're way better YouTuber than I am. For those of you that are still watching this video, thank you so much. Because I know that the algorithm of YouTube rewards videos where people start to watch them until the end. And for me, that's my biggest problem, is that people drop super quickly because my content is probably boring. I'm learning how to do it better, but I'll take 100 videos probably. So yeah, they're amazing, those kids. And I think that's probably, I mean, here's maybe off topic, but I think at the moment you can see that the industry just is not hiring juniors. It's very hard for juniors or people out of uni to find a job and so on and so forth. This is wrong. Like, this is wrong because they're the one that will have the best mindset to learn how to use AI and drive AI adoption in a company. The people that are the most senior are probably going to be the one are going to be the most afraid of using AI. I mean, they want to use AI. They'll be like in the board saying, we need to use AI, but they won't be using AI themselves. And if they feel that AI is threatening their bread and butter, they'll be, no, we shouldn't use it, blah, blah, blah. Young people don't give a fuck. They just come and they just want to get the job done, and they'll find the fastest route to do it. So I think that what should work is that we should have companies hiring young people to drive AI adoption, and then older people, more senior people, to actually help those younger people to learn how to ship professional deliverables. Because I think that's the gap, is that the younger generation probably is not really familiar with probably what is the craft of shipping something professional and shipping quality. But they'll be the one finding new ways to ship that with those new tools. So I think this is when the two needs to join forces, because the more senior people are not going to be as quick and flexible to learn and drive the AI adoption. If anything, they're going to put the brake on. The younger people are going to jump on all the AI tools they can to find any shortcuts, but they probably don't have the skills and the knowledge and the maturity to deliver the craft to ship professional outcomes. I think those two have to be merged. At the moment, I think they say, no. Senior people, you stay, all the rest fired, not hired. Now senior people drive the AI adoption. No. I don't think that's going to work. So this is the other lesson learned. What else? I think that's it. I think it's good for a first episode. Like I said, drop your comments below. Go and check out Happy Skills. I repeat, the outcome at the moment is at 0 users. Next episodes, I'm gonna hopefully have something to show that I have more than 0. And I explain to you why I got more than 0, because I track a lot of things on the system already. So hopefully I'll be able to reverse engineer why I got that user, where it came from, and how we can just accelerate the adoption of my product. So I'm very excited about this. Yeah, and very grateful that you're still watching this video. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks. Bye-bye.